Hi, this is my discussion about commerce with monsters. Recently, I was running a game of Dungeons and Dragons, and the party was given a map leading to Goblin's Den with a great treasure. So the party heads off in that direction, and along the way, they run into other people who have been trading with the goblins. The goblins have been trading goblin ale and pearls for dung and sheep. They're interested in dung, and which was kind of unusual, and they were offering. So the party ended up getting into an interesting philosophical discussion about the ethics of attacking a group of goblins that were actually involved with commerce with the local trading outposts, and they seemed much more civilized and weren't attacking anyone. This is an interesting discussion because it brings up other interesting things that have happened in history and even local recently. For example, we know that Nazi Germany was involved with tremendous terrible things during the Holocaust, but there was trade going on with them, with the Swiss. Some argue with the United States, with the various other companies. But even more recently, we run into what happens if you have somebody who's on the sex offender list as a pedophile and he walks into a local 7-Eleven to buy a bottle of beer or even just a bag of chips. Isn't that commerce with a monster? Those are real monsters. Goblins are... I'm not going to say that they're completely fictitious, but I've never ran into a goblin, and I see all the news about a guy who locked up women in the basement of his house with chains and kept them there for 10 years, and he got a sentence of life plus 1,000 years. So he's a monster in my mind. But along the way, somebody bought groceries for that home, and there was commerce, and I'm sure somewhere during that period of time he went in and stopped by the local grocery store and bought some food, if nothing else, for his prisoners. So that's commerce with a real monster. And so the question is that players having commerce with monsters, and they end up with what happens if you destroy this trading between the locals and the goblins and things like that. And I like to bring to the games that I run the challenges of philosophy and conflict and make people think. The game was really slow because there was a lot more discussion and so on. But those are actually some of the more interesting games because it's not just all hack and slash. There's role playing, there's considering the effects of what you do on other creatures and people, and not just going out and slaughtering the goblins because they're goblins. You have to think about that. So I just want to bring up the thoughts about commerce with monsters is an interesting discussion. Why can't trolls or whatever be trading with something? Where do the pearls come from that the goblins are getting? I mean, and what's in Goblin Ale and all those other interesting questions. That's what makes Dungeons and Dragons, which is the game that I run, a lot more interesting. Well, this was my first one to see how it goes, and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.